everything to do with the position that our budget is in right now. We can't sit here and be told we're in Armageddon and then continue to hire people. And I do realize that the offset that will be given yet again today will be the estimated savings that will occur by hiring this person. And I understand that, and I appreciate that, and I respect that, but it's still an estimated savings. I don't think in my 7 years as alderman I've ever had so many of my constituents plus other Aurora people come up to me and comment on this particular item. Again, it's not the person. It's where we are in the budget process. We are being told that we don't have enough money to cover the bills that we're going to have, and I personally do not spend money that I don't have in my own banking account, so I'm not going to do it for the city. So I would prefer to hold this until we get our financial our finances, our budget in order, rather than to vote on it and lose the opportunity of having this person. So that's what I'd like to open it up to, because I do feel that, other aldermen may have the same feeling. And we've had some time to think about this, and I feel very strongly that we shouldn't be hiring until we get our budget process in order. Doesn't mean we don't need the person. Again, the savings that have been explained to me, they are estimated savings, but they are estimated savings, so I can't really rely on an estimate right now when I don't know where our budget's going to land. So if I'm forced to vote on this today, I will be voting against it, and I'd like to hear what my fellow aldermen have to say.
I'm going to allow corporate counsel to articulate her views on it, as this is being hired in the law department.
Yeah, I appreciate the comments about Ms. Nerman's qualifications. She is very qualified. So a couple of things. First of all, the whole reason I investigated this was an attempt to curb some of the outside legal costs. There's significant legal costs. Today I received a bill from the employment and labor law litigation firm for August for $33,000. It's not typical, frankly. That's a little higher than we usually pay them, but it's also not completely atypical. When I pulled all the bills for outside labor counsel, which it's fairly easy to do. It was just a handful of firms doing it. You're looking at over $300,000 a year. So I looked at what we could do to curb those costs, and we still have the work. The work doesn't go away. It's not like we don't need someone to negotiate labor contracts. It's not like we don't have IDHR claims. It's not like we don't have an HR department that needs some legal assistance. And our office doesn't have the bandwidth or, frankly, the years of experience that Michelle brings to the table. So in my judgment, I think bringing someone in-house, that there's enough work there that we can fill the position. She's agreed to come on 4 days a week, so that it's not a full-time position. It will be just for the amount of time that we think that we'll need it. And that's my goal is this is meant to be a cost-saving measure. That's the purpose of it. The other piece of this is that I'm concerned that if we pause this, part of the reason that I moved on this so quickly was part of it was to get the cost savings earlier so that we could start seeing those cost savings before the end of the year. But additionally, I know there's a lot of changes going on in the HR department with Alicia Lewis's retirement. And I wanted to make sure that the new leadership in the department is well supported, okay? That's not something that, I know that they need support. That's something that I'm handling, and it's just, it's a lot. There's just a lot of things that come up with HR. Employment is a big source of litigation, that it just is, okay? You've got certain sources of conflict in municipal government, and employment, frankly, is a big piece of that. And I want to make sure that they have the support they need from the get-go, either in labor or in employment. Everything from benefits to working out hiring and termination decisions or discipline, to negotiating union contracts, and then dealing with union grievances and union, those relationships that we build with the unions. Those relationships can either be bad and then they're a headache for everyone, or they can be good and you can work together. And I wanted to make sure that Michelle was part of that process from the beginning so that the new leadership in HR was supported. I have concerns that if we don't move on that, we will lose this applicant because she's not going to just wait around for us. So I understand your concerns. I am happy to answer any questions, but you all met the candidate, and I think that the budgetary concerns, I think, are very, very real, and this is one of the many ways that the legal department's attempting to cut some of the anticipated costs going into 2026.
I want to add just a few things. Number one, just to be clear, it's not anticipated savings. They will come out of the budget, so there will not be this money and more for outside counsel out of the budget. We are cutting that out of the budget. it is a true replacement and there will be savings. In fact, I think when we first talked about this, we were going through your budget and there was a line item in the HR budget for $230,000, and I'd asked if we could find somebody that could do it for less money. And then the second part of it is, as far as potentially waiting, I think we have 2 union contracts that have been under negotiation for the majority of this year, and the firemen just submitted their demand letter to begin negotiations. That contract expires at the end of the year, and we would be delaying those negotiations, which will also hamper the, we may not get through them. I'm not saying that by bringing Michelle on, I'm just saying it'll help move it along a little bit faster. And then the third thing is, just so everybody's clear, we have been getting positions that have been out to hire. We're now requiring every department to come through the 3rd floor and approve it. And we're looking at 2 things. One is mission critical. And 2 is it going to be offset somewhere else with savings somewhere else? So this falls actually into both categories. I believe that we're going to both be able to save elsewhere, as well as it's pretty critical, especially at this point in time. But Alderman Franco, I know you had some.
Yeah, I understand both points. I understand you don't want to bring people on because of the budget, but I always like to bring it down to the math. If the math makes us save money, then let that math speak for itself. I really believe that. Now, what I would say, though, about this is there are projections in here. So if a year from now that we don't see that we're getting bang for the buck for this, I hope we would revisit this and say, oh, maybe we have to contract a little amount. Maybe we don't need that person. But I think if the math tells us that we're going to save money this year and in the near future, I think it's hard for us to go away from that. But even though there's hiring, but I would say with Alderman Smith, going forward, if the math doesn't say we're savings, then that hiring should not happen. But I think in this one, the point was made that we're going to save some money, so I think that's a good thing. So I would be voting yes, based just on the math, but with the point of looking at it in the future and make sure that it's actually occurring the way we want it to.
Any other Alder people wish to weigh in?
Just
That's Alderwoman Smith.
One last comment from me. Again, I want to make it very clear this has nothing to do with the candidate. It's everything to do with the public, what the people are hearing and seeing from us. And I can, in good conscience, say yes to a $140,000 a year job that is going to come along with benefits as well. And in listening to council, I'm also hearing that the plan is to hire a new person for the head of HR. So at what point is a hiring freeze? And how do we keep hiring when we're saying we have no money? So, the math is the math, I get it, but where's the calculator, because, we're being told that we're going to have to cut everywhere else, but yet we're bringing people in. I don't disagree that we need these people. I don't disagree that we need this person, but I do disagree that this is the wrong time for that. So that's really all I'm going to say about it. Again, I will be voting against this, but it has nothing to do with the legal department not needing this. It has nothing to do with the city of, of Aurora possibly saving money. Is the math the math? I don't know, because, a couple weeks ago when we asked for the math, we didn't get the math. So I couldn't get the math a couple weeks ago, so I can't trust the math today. So that's where I am with this.
Did you get the email I sent you the math on for after the last meeting?
I did, but I didn't get math on other things that I'd asked for when we went through the budget process. So, math works across the board, so I'm feeling a little uncomfortable right now with where we are with this. It's just so hard to say we're in, a state of Armageddon and to be hiring people. If I couldn't pay my mortgage, I wouldn't be going on vacation. There's some, there's just some things that need to be weighed out here. This is my personal opinion. Actually, it's not my personal opinion. This is the opinion of many of my constituents, and my constituents don't say a lot. But when they do, I stop and I listen, and they have definitely voiced their opinion here on the budget process, on the ACA process, and on the hiring process. So, and I think the little bit of a mixed message is we're on a hiring freeze, and I understand you've got it coming through your office.
Slushy.
Yeah, may I confirm on that?
Well,
and
that's
just
a mixed
clarify that?
message. That's a mixed message. I can say that 3 times. That the residents are getting. So I will not say another word. I've spoken my piece here.
So Chief of Staff, Shannon Cameron, I just want to clarify that because I think that's really important. Thanks for bringing that up, Alderwoman Smith. We've never called it a hiring freeze, although we could move to that eventually. We know we are a city that requires a lot of really important city services. And if there are certain people that choose to retire, to resign, to move on to another career, we may very well need knowledge and expertise in those roles in order to provide quality city services. And as much as someone may choose to move on and retire, we may need to refill that role because we have deemed it as essential. So we're trying to make sure that we just don't have a freeze at this point as we're still going through the budget and trying to make the best decisions possible, and that essential services could still be pushed through. As our Corporation Council stated, this was an act to find us a way to save money. And just like other things we've seen, there's a pot of money here, a pot of money here, a pot of money, all these different departments have a little bit of money here. If we put that together, we can have someone on, instead of hiring contract after contract after contract, which adds up over time, we can save money by bringing someone in-house. That was why we had made the decision to go ahead with this position, understand that idea, but I think we believe right now a strict hiring freeze could be very, very detrimental to the city. And although we may have to move to that, right now that is not where we're at. As we're continuing to ask our departments to make some hard decisions, we're making hard decisions to present to you a balanced budget come the end of this year. But right now, these are decisions that we're going through to find a way to be creative, but also get the needs met of our city and get our city services best, realized for our residents and businesses.
Any other aldermen? I want to give Alderman Barrero a chance, and then I'll come back to Alderman Franco. Go ahead.
Yes, this is a very complicated issue, and I think there's clarity on both sides. But the issue I have is the process and the timing. And so the process is that we have a budget that's going to be presented to us in 4 weeks. And in that document, we're going to be probably seeing this position and those adjustments that the mayor alluded to about reductions in outside counsel. It would be nice to be able to wait until that document is presented to us so we can see both of those and see how the budget is going to be balanced, what positions are in the budget, which positions are not in the budget, because we have to have that document in about 4 weeks. So can we hold this off in 4 weeks till we see what the plan is and how this is going to fit into the overall plan that we're going to be asked to vote on? This is not a lot to ask. If we can just wait until you guys put in all the pieces together. We're not looking, we can't see the pieces. We haven't seen the pieces. But I think we deserve to be able to see the overall picture of what the 2026 budget is going to be and how are we going to balance the budget, what's going to be asked of us. So, as I stand right now, I mean, I would be voting no if we are voting today. But in the future, after we see the budget document, I would feel more comfortable voting on this.
I will just say that I believe numbers have been provided. If not, I'm happy to send those out regarding what human resources and labor costs have been for outside counsel versus bringing her in. I can provide those again. The fact is we still have a month in which we have to have a functioning city, and everybody is going to have to continue doing their job on a day-to-day basis. And by delaying these choices, we're going to slow down and we're going to spend more. So I think our concern is trying to get this in, stop the bleed now, rather than waiting another month when we've already identified it as an issue.
Yep, you're going to have to find a new outside counsel to handle the labor contracts and negotiations and delay that whole process by whatever amount of time is necessary. One other thing I could add real quick is that to what Shannon was talking about, we also looked at a veterinarian because between the animal shelter, the K-9 money that we spend on vet bills as well as the zoo, it doesn't all add up enough to justify. So we use outside contractors to provide those services. But even when you add those three up and then take into account that the zoo requires somewhat of a specialized veterinarian, we're not able to come across with it. This one, we're easily able to cross the dollar threshold by cutting back on outside counsel. So, any other Alderman? I know Alderman Franco wanted to.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate on what Alderman Barrero said. If we were financially sound, wouldn't we want to save money no matter what? Would it really matter that we're in a deficit if we found a cost savings to do this in a better, more efficient way? Now, we can look at the numbers again, but if you're doing well, you want to save money, and if you're not doing well, you definitely need to save money. So I don't think that that's really an item with the budget. I think if you're saving money, we should always do that. So that's number one. And then I guess then I have a question for Chief of Staff. If we were to do a hiring freeze, who makes that decision? Does the city council make the decision, or does the mayor's office make that decision? If we're going to actually do it, like not purportedly, but actually say this is what we're going to do.
We haven't broached that yet.
Okay.
As far as I would turn to Corporation Council, I don't think there's anything in our city code that requires city council to sign off on that, but I'm willing to be, I don't have it all memorized either, so certainly could be. I think it can be a decision internally. I think in general, I hope you've seen with the trend of our office, is that we want to be as transparent as possible and involve you in this. It's a pretty significant decision, and I think that's something we would bring to council and involve communication in, but we're just not there yet.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Masiakos.
I wasn't going to say anything, but since you mentioned my name, I'm a little confused here. I really am. I understand that there's two sides to every coin, but then I don't understand the other side of the coin. If we're going to stop and wait to hire someone, why do we approve anything through any committee, especially the Finance Committee? Why are we still approving resolutions to spend money for things that we need to spend on? Why would the mayor hire a chief of staff? I mean, right now we know we have savings already in the third floor on salaries, for example. But the mayor still needs them. He still needs to function. We need a human resource director. You can't function a department without a department head. You can't function without having someone who's specialized. That's it. It's not just any attorney. We have someone here that was presented to us. We agreed about it. We had consensus to move forward. Now we're playing with her life as well and her career. After we've told her, hey, we're looking to move forward. And now she's probably talked to her employer and told her looking to move on. I don't think that looks good on us either. And what kind of message are we sending out there to any future candidate that we may be looking for with the next budget to hire someone that we might approve on another, potentially and hopefully a balanced budget? That's what I'm thinking right now. I'm going to be voting yes to move forward. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Alderwoman Bade.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A lot of constituents of mine, they approached and they asked if this is a new position, was it posted online for people to apply? And how was the selection made? So I don't believe we posted it online. Is that correct?
No, it wasn't posted online.
So is there a reason we didn't post it online for other people to apply?
I did not post it online. I reached out to a number of people that I thought may be interested. Most of them were were beyond our salary range. I had a very specific thing in mind for a variety of reasons. I wanted someone that was experienced not just in employment and labor law, which is its own niche in law, but also someone who had a lot of experience in local government, not just government, but local government, municipal, county, township, just local government, because that is niche too. So those two pieces there are both niche environments. And a lot of people who do those niche environments, they charge a lot of money for their services. And so it was very, it was pretty narrow. I was also looking for a certain personality. I wanted someone who would work well with the team of people that I have met at HR, that I've met at the police department, that I've met at the fire department, and that I have in my office. And so part of it was based on my knowledge, because I know a lot of attorneys in this area. So no, I didn't do a big search because I had people in mind, and I reached out to them and felt that I'd found a good fit with Ms. Nerman, and went ahead and talked to her about it. She was interested, and we proceeded.
Again, the residents would have appreciated if all those things that you were looking for, if it was posted online and if they had a chance to apply for it. So,
I'll bear it in mind in the future.
okay, thank you.
Any other members of the council?
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Bug.
I definitely see both sides to this. We need to look at every cost-saving measure we can at this time. I think part of the process, and I apologize, my Granicus has been going crazy the whole week. So, but in our Legistar, and you mentioned, Mr. Mayor, that you forwarded some numbers to, yes, Alderwoman Smith. So normally, our fair chief is in Italy. Where is he? Rich.
Oh, yes.
Italy. So the chief of staff for the Alderman's office is in Italy right now, having a great time. Normally, these documents go to him, and then they go to all 12 of us, and they're attached to our Legistar. So the 12 of us sitting up here right now would be looking at the numbers that our Corporation Council is talking about. That didn't happen in this case. We can learn from that, so we can all look at that. I think in a week's time, if we had a bullet-by-bullet law firm, this law firm had this much outside counsel costs, this law firm had this much, it totals this much, and the new person's salary is going to be $148,000. And you just compare the two numbers. We don't have that in our Legistar right now, so I believe Corporation Council that our outside counsel figures were high. I know they were high, and they were anticipated to go up, not down. But it's always good for us, the 12 people sitting up here, and the people out there, the residents, to have as much information as possible. So normally in this case, I might say let's hold this 2 weeks. I think, however, that would be detrimental because we do need to move forward. We have 3 unions who are ready to sit down to the table. I think we can learn from the situation, kind of get more information quicker, and our chief of staff is still going to take a vacation every year, so we just need to get the information through our very competent person stepping in, Crystal, who I'm probably sitting over there, and that we have all the information, and we can make that type of better informed decision. So I'll be voting yes, but in the future, we just need to have a little bit more information to make the process a little better.
I'm taking notes. PowerPoints next time. Got it.
Oh yeah, PowerPoints work well. You can take notes from Mr. Curley sitting in the back row.
And to be clear, just so it was an email that went to Alderwoman Smith, and it was $295,000 spent up till last week, correct? And then now you're just saying you got another $33,000 bill. Is that accurate? Okay, so that's the number, and I think we've determined this is 140 plus benefits.
Until we bring her in full time.
She's.
I don't know that we
But what, during the last meeting, this was part of the turning point for me, during the last meeting, when we discussed this, you had stated, and this is when I started getting a little more nervous about this, that you've got plenty of work to bring her in, more. So then I'm looking at the 248 or 200, or excuse me, 148 or 140, whichever it is, I'm thinking, okay, now, before she even starts, we're already saying we've got more work for her. Again, I'm just gonna back up. This is not against her. It's not against the need. It's against worrying about the budget. I'm certainly not trying to destroy the woman's life, which was a ridiculous statement to make, that someone would do that. This is part of an entire city decision. So I have to make the decision which I believe is best for the people that I represent. And this is a really hard ask on all of us when all we have been eating, living, and breathing this budget process to now add to the budget. And you were going to argue, but we're not really adding because we're taking away. But until that really happens, it didn't happen. That doesn't happen until next year.
Can I clarify, because I just want to clarify something. So Ms. Nerman has not agreed to come on full-time. She's only agreed to the 4 days a week, which is 80%. When I said that there's more than enough work, what I meant is that so because of the nature of labor negotiations, the work will ebb and flow, right? So when there's a negotiation, it's going to be very busy. When there's not a negotiation, hopefully we will not be busy with employment discrimination claims or other employment matters. I'm really hoping that will be the case. And my point was that there's enough work in the legal department that I think that she won't be idle, in other words. So it wasn't that she'll be full-time, it was that in the ebb and flow of employment law and labor law, I think that there'll be more than enough work for her at the the 32 hours a week or whatever that 4 days is, just to clarify that piece of it. No problem.
Mr. Mayor?
Alderwoman Garza.
Yes,
first.
my question is, how many lawyers we have already in the legal department? How many we have?
Did
5?
you say the labor department or you mean law
No,
department?
legal department.
Legal department.
We currently have 5.
5 is what I'm saying. Yeah, because my other concern is other departments they have some positions available. So if you want to continue doing this because it's a need, like you say, it's a really need, other departments complaining too. They need people. So that we want to continue to say yes, because we have to continue hiring people when the departments have enough people and still saying we need more people. So, Mayor, that's my question. Like HR, I understand, we don't have it. But they want to announce that position and wait until we saw the numbers with that, or no? But we want to continue to say yes because they need it in the department, even when they have enough people to do that, to do the job?
We're saying yes because there's an offset and because the previous corporate counsel was here part-time and hired a lot of outside counsel to get the work done of the city. So one of the goals is to reduce the amount of outside counsel that we're doing, and this was an easy no-brainer. The math made sense. There will be other places, like I tried giving you the example. We looked at, could we save money by getting a veterinarian? The answer was no, the math did not work. Other positions, we need a director of community engagement. We have not hired that. I don't see it as mission critical. The math doesn't work. We're working with a skeleton crew there, and those people are doing a really good job where they're at. And I think the thing that makes this both mission critical and the savings is obvious, but the mission critical part is the labor negotiations, and we are trying to eliminate or reduce the number of employment-related lawsuits that we have. So on the front end, she's going to be working with HR to make sure that we go through legal before making any decisions. And when that person was outside counsel, that becomes more difficult to do and more expensive.
Yeah.
If they're here, it's going to be easier.
We have to wait until we have the numbers in front of us and see where we are. Because everybody say the cities increases, but on the other side, we're hiding people. And our residents ask questions. I have a lot of emails and a lot of phone calls. They say, well, if the city isn't the budget with crisis, so why are they still hiding people? People don't understand that. And like Yordona said, there's a need. I understand that. But I prefer to wait until we saw the numbers and see where we are, really, to continue hiding people. Because I know it's the most we need is more inspectors and property standards. It's what the most complaints I receive in all neighborhood groups meetings. And we don't have it. And we're not hiding people in there. That's one of my points. Other departments need people.
That's one of the contracts that we have to negotiate, and I look forward to doing it so we can address some of the shortfalls in property standards. But waiting, I feel if we wait, we're probably going to lose this person who's agreed to work 4 days and be budget accommodating, and I feel like we're probably, I don't know that for sure.
Well,
but
if she's
you're-
want to be a part-time,
then what do I do?
wait for
Then what do I
weeks.
do for the budget? Just
And
put
for weeks,
300
we're gonna
grand
have
in?
the budget, no, in 4 weeks? 4 more weeks?
I don't know that she'll wait. I don't know if she will.
Any other?
I have a question.
Okay, I'll give one more here for
So
Alderman Franco.
do
Go
we
ahead.
always use outside counsel or legal to negotiate contracts? Or do we, or have we, or could we do it with just the HR department and knowledgeable people in the HR department? How does that
So,
work?
okay, so it depends on the contract.
Okay.
It's a little bit complicated. So if the union brings an attorney, which MAP always does, certain unions always bring an attorney, then we send an attorney,
Okay.
always. It's just, that's the standard. If they don't, we usually have an attorney advising through phone or through,
Okay.
like someone's advising. Because there's typically questions that come up through the negotiations, and they don't happen in one day. It's not, it's a process, right? I have to tell you, like me personally, I've sat through them and I don't have the patience for it. I just don't. And it's just it's a little bit tedious. It's a lot of relationship building. It's a lot of conversations, and a lot of times it requires a person who is very familiar with how labor negotiations work. I know that Ms. Lewis used to do a lot of them, but my understanding is I don't know who in the HR department right now has the certifications and so forth to do the labor negotiations right now, but Ms. Lewis would also be in contact with our outside labor counsel throughout the negotiation as needed, because that's just how it's done.
Sure.
And that's because you're negotiating a contract, and a contract that is frankly worth a lot of money, and so you don't want to do that, without a attorney there.
Okay, thank you.
Or attorney
But-
advice.
And just to better hone in on that, in negotiations, we're also going to include finance. They have not been included in the past, but any back and forth needs to be evaluated from a budget perspective, HR, and the attorney. Those are the three people we'll bring to the table. Alderman Seville.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the comments that were made tonight from both sides. I can understand both positions. I think each of these positions that are being presented this evening are very valid. It seems to me that when we've in the past hired outside counsel, the justification was it was going to save us money. And in this instance, it appears it did not, which concerns me. And I'm all in favor of saving money and not overexpending, I should say. And I understand, too, the need to maybe hold this off and wait in looking at the budget that's going to be coming forward for 2026. And I guess my first question is, would it hurt to hold this off for 30 days until the new budget is presented to us so we can actually see the global picture and make a better determination? And number two is, I still am inclined to vote in favor tonight because I want to save money. I get that. Anytime we can save money, I'm going to be voting yes and raising my hand. Would it really hurt, again, notwithstanding that argument that I'm in favor of, to hold it off for another 30 days? Can we literally afford, quote unquote, no pun intended, to be able to do that with the parameters that have been discussed by the Corporation Council and the Mayor and the Aldermen that have spoken this evening?
Just to clarify exact dates, so everybody has that information, Shannon Cameron, Chief of Staff. All right. We have to have the proposed budget to you on October 15th.
15th.
So that's the exact date. I just wanted to make sure you have that information.
So longer than 30 days. So I guess my question is, now that we know that, would it hurt holding it off a little bit longer?
Make a motion.
Well, I'm asking the administration, since they're presenting the argument before us.
I think we run a risk of losing somebody who's a pretty good candidate. And I think it delays negotiations, which makes the whole budget process harder. But who's to say if they're going to be solved by the end of the year or not?
We have arbitrations and stuff scheduled for October. My plan was to have her start as soon as possible, but by mid-October at the latest. So, we can continue using outside counsel. Those bills aren't going to get any cheaper. But that would be the plan would be to use outside counsel.
The remedy for the council is if you don't see the savings, make a motion during the budget process to reduce it by whatever the amount used for outside counsel. That's how I look at it. I mean, that's a potential remedy for those who are concerned that this somehow isn't going to save us any money during the budget process. That's an avenue to take.
Well, again, I'm not interested in hurting the city and costing more money, but I wanted to lay that out and ask questions and be point blank about it and listen to your side as well as the side of the other aldermen that's rightfully representing their constituency and the city people that we represent. The information that was presented to us at the end of August was eye-opening, and we want to do our part and form a team to make sure we're delivering the type of services for the monies that our constituents are paying for our city, not only in 2026 but beyond.
Alderman Nunez, I don't believe you had a chance.
Thank you. Point of order. Alderwoman Smith called the question. At that point, only the people who had their...
I didn't call the question.
You did or
You
did
called
not?
the
I
question.
didn't hear it.
No,
You
I
asked me
said
to
to him
call.
to call the question.
Okay.
I didn't have my mic on, so I didn't call the question.
Okay. I'll call the
Alderman
question now,
Nunez?
so if you haven't...
Just
you know,
for
if your green
visibility, can we?
isn't on.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm calling the question now, so...
You're on and
Only,
you're on.
yep, that's it.
He's called the question. So,
Yeah. Regarding the numbers that were mentioned in this communication to Alderman Smith, can you share those numbers with us so we can hear them at least?
Sure, I gave it to you verbally, I guess. I can send you an email if you want, but it was 295,000 as of the last meeting.
33.
Plus an additional bill for 33,000.
And then 148. And then what benefits, give or take, just to get it out
Somebody
there?
here from HR, calculate roughly, or chief of staff, or Brian, I don't know if you know, benefits on a person earning 140,000. It's going to be in the 20s, I would
Yeah,
guess.
that's what I was. And this will completely, you said this completely eliminates that line item for next year?
Yeah.
So that 328 that we're seeing this year,
Yes, the line item currently was 230, 231 in HR's budget.
okay.
What's that? She's saying it was 2 line items and it's more than that. I know we're over budget this year.
And historically, when it comes to union contract negotiations, is there one year where they're heavier than other years? Is this year just an off year compared to what we've seen historically, and what's the low been in years past? Just curious.
So, yes, there's an ebb and flow with the years. I don't know what the low has been, because the last several years, when I looked, they have spent, so it's 2 line items. It's 14, 19, 32-52, and 32-99. It's a total of 294,100 is what's budgeted. We're already over that, so.
What we could do is look at the 24 and 23 audit to get a more better number what an off year looks like. I don't know if anybody from staff brought a budget book, but if you did.
I don't have a budget book with me.
He's done.
Just give it a minute while Shannon does some math over there. Stacy's doing the math.
Oh, that's good.
Stacy, do you have the ability to pull up the 23 and 24 previous HR expenses? I know it's lumped together from all over the place, but just in HR's budget, what they previously did.
She's not in, yes. She's not here. Oh, she's back there. So that was when you can't see.
Okay. Just wait.
Shannon Cameron, Chief of Staff. Thank you, Stacy, for quick math. What it would be salary with benefits, $164,000, roughly.
And did we get an answer on the 23 and 24?
She was doing the math.
She's doing it.
She's looking at that for you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We should have had all that.
Any other questions while we wait?
I do.
Alderman Larson, liven it up.
Alderwoman Bates been waiting for a while.
No, the question's been called. At that time, only people who had their lights on could ask a question. I believe the only one left is Alderwoman Bay.
If you have another question, fire away so we can do the math.
I do have 2 things for clarifications. So currently, we don't have any legal counsel in-house who can handle union negotiations. Like out of those 5,
I'm the
that
only
we
one
haven't-
I'm the only one that has experience with it.
but you don't feel comfortable doing that.
Part of it's a time issue with it. It would take me out of the office for big chunks of time, and frankly, given the workload that I have right now, I don't see how I could do it. I hate to admit this, but I'm not particularly good at it. Like, I understand how to do it, I can do it, but I'm not great at it. And I would like the city to have someone who's good at it.
And you've seen her skills that she's good at.
Yeah.
And okay. The other was if we get her, are we reducing the use of outside counsel or eliminating completely?
That's yes. Well, so there is. I don't want to be no. Alderman, so I'm trying to be honest with you. I don't want to be dishonest with this council or with the public or anything. So we still retain outside counsel for litigation. Okay. So the numbers that I'm giving you is not. These don't have to do with litigation because that all comes from the risk fund. That's all done differently. But if you look at all of the bills from this firm, there's a lot of litigation in there. So it's not. I want to make sure I'm clear that that Clark Bard Smith, when you pull all their firms, they're handling some of the city's litigation as well that has to do with employment matters. And that litigation is not something I'm looking at bringing in-house, okay? I'm not planning on doing litigation in-house, and that would still have to go to outside counsel. But that's not the budget line items that we're looking at. That's not what I'm looking at bringing in-house. That would still be outside counsel. They'll still be doing the litigation part of employment law. Does that clarify? Yeah. Okay.
So for example, if we need an environmental attorney, we don't have one on staff. It would still be outside counsel. It's just that there's so much HR-related work that we're doing in outside counsel, it makes sense.
I should say there's so much HR work that's not litigation. That's what we're looking at. So that includes the labor negotiations. That includes questions about all sorts of benefits, how federal law and state laws interact for employment, in the employment arena. It also includes any sort of discrimination claims, IDHR claims, all that stuff that isn't litigation but involves the complicated world of employment law. So as long as it's not filed in court, then it would be handled in-house. Okay. Thank you.
Stacy Peterson, Chief Financial Officer, City Treasurer. I pulled up HR's line items. They have a professional fee line item where the attorneys come out of their total cost in that account for 2023 was $228,000. Again, there's attorneys in there. There's also some notary information, but the majority of that does equate to attorneys. The 2024 line item, they spent roughly about $200,000. They also have an arbitration line item. And the total costs in 2023 for arbitration services that were in this account was $33,000. That's rounded. And for 2024, it's $55,000.
Roughly $255,000 in 2024.
You mentioned that's attorneys, notary.
Yes, the HR will still need some sort of line item in there, but that's the total expenditures that was in those accounts in 2023 and 2024.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm going to ask the clerk to please call the roll.
I have a motion and a second to discuss the item, but as far as to
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Alderman Masiacos.
Second.
Second by Alderman White. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Barrero?
No.
Alderwoman Garza?
No.
Alderman Masiacos?
Yes.
Alderman Nunez?
No.
Alderman Franco?
Yes.
Alderman Seville?
Yes.
Alderman Banuelos?
Yes.
Alderwoman Smith?
No.
Alderman Bug?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bade?
No.
Alderman Larson?
Yes.
Alderman White?
Yes.
7 yes, 5 no.
Motion carries. This resolution is adopted.